Ever wonder who makes the instruments behind all that beautiful music?
Yeah.
We're going deep on a hidden career gem this time. Wind musical instrument makers.
Cool.
Our friends at RoleCatcher, the career navigators,
Yeah.
they have this fantastic breakdown of this whole field.
Hmm.
And the detail is astounding.
It really is. We're talking next level craftsmanship, blending technical precision with artistry. It's almost like they're capturing music in these meticulously crafted instruments.
Okay, so RoleCatcher describes these makers as like meticulous craftspeople. But what does that actually look like day to day?
Imagine this. You're working with these long tubes of metal, shaping them into resonating chambers.
Okay.
These will eventually become, a trumpet or a trombone,
Uh-huh.
and every millimeter matters.
Really?
Yeah, because it directly impacts the sound the instrument produces.
Wait, so how does that even work? How do they know a tiny adjustment here won't throw the whole thing off?
That's where the real skill comes in. They meticulously measure, cut, and shape each section of tubing. And then they have to get those braces, slides, valves, pistons, all those intricate parts perfectly aligned and fitted.
It's like a 3D jigsaw puzzle.
Right.
But with higher stakes, if you mess up a puzzle, you get a weird-looking picture. But here you get, well, a bum note.
Exactly. A trumpet with a sticky valve isn't going to win any orchestral auditions. That's why the testing and inspection phase is so crucial. These makers aren't just putting parts together, they're ensuring each instrument is acoustically sound and plays beautifully.
So what does the typical workshop even look like? Is it all like clanking metal and sparks flying?
You'd be surprised. While those traditional workshops are definitely part of the scene, RoleCatcher highlights how technology is changing the game. We're talking CAD software for designing, CNC machines for precision cutting, even 3D printing for certain components.
That's wild. So even though it's such an old craft, it's embracing modern tech. But wouldn't that take away from the artistry?
Not at all. Think of it this way. These advancements, they allow for even greater precision, and they open up a world of possibilities for complex designs.
Huh.
It's like giving a master painter a new set of brushes.
Right.
They still have their skill, but now they've got even more tools to create something amazing.
That makes sense. It's about pushing the boundaries of what's possible while staying true to the heart of the craft. Okay, let's get real for a second. What are the pros and cons of this career? I imagine it takes a certain type of person to thrive in this kind of environment.
Absolutely. It's not your typical 9 to 5. RoleCatcher emphasizes that immense creative satisfaction, the joy of working with your hands, and then there's the incredible potential to be your own boss. Imagine you could end up crafting a custom instrument for a world-renowned musician.
Talk about ultimate bragging rights.
Yeah.
But what about the challenges? I imagine it's not all like harmonious melodies and standing ovations.
You're right. RoleCatcher doesn't sugarcoat the challenges. You're looking at acquiring specialized skills that take years to hone, investing in expensive tools and equipment, and potentially facing inconsistent income, especially when you're just starting out.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It sounds like you need a healthy blend of passion, dedication, and maybe a touch of entrepreneurial spirit to really make it in this field.
Precisely. This is where the personality of the maker comes into play. They have to be meticulous and detail-oriented, but also adaptable and resilient.
We're back and ready to trace the career path of a wind instrument maker. Still, drawing from RoleCatcher's treasure trove of insights. So you're telling me this isn't a career you just waltz into with a soldering iron and a dream?
Not quite. It's more about steady hands and an ear for detail.
Okay.
RoleCatcher really emphasizes on-the-job training.
Yeah.
Apprenticeships are where it's at.
Okay, that makes sense. But what does that actually entail? Are we talking years of like sweeping up metal shavings and just observing from a distance?
Think of it more like being thrown into the orchestra pit. Okay. But instead of instruments, you're surrounded by tools and parts. You'd be assisting with assembly, learning to measure and cut tubing for those all-important resonators. Remember, those are what create the sound waves.
Right, right, the heart of the instrument. But there are so many tiny parts, like those braces, slides, valves, like it'd be easy to get lost in the details.
Absolutely, which is why RoleCatcher emphasizes that entry-level folks need meticulous attention to detail.
Right.
They even quoted one aspiring maker as saying, "I have a strong attention to detail and a passion for music, which drives me to excel in this role."
Wow.
Passion goes a long way.
I bet. So when do they get to actually, make an instrument from scratch?
That's where the junior maker stage comes in. This is where they start to, spread their wings, working more independently, though still under the guidance of more experienced makers, of course.
So they're like the sous chefs of the instrument world, honing their skills before they get to create the main course.
Exactly.
What kind of skills are we talking about here?
RoleCatcher mentions gaining valuable experience in assembling wind instrument parts with precision and accuracy, and a strong skill set in measuring and cutting tubing for resonators.
Okay, so still a lot of focus on those foundational techniques. But I'm curious, at what point does the artistry really start to shine through? Is that something you develop over time, or are there like naturally gifted artisans from the get-go?
It's a bit of both, actually. Some have a natural knack for it, but like any art form, it takes years of practice and dedication to truly master. RoleCatcher's next career stage, the senior wind instrument maker, is where things get really interesting.
Ooh, I'm sensing a, but wait, there's more moment here. Tell me everything.
It's not just about making instruments anymore. It's about leading teams, overseeing production, potentially even, collaborating with designers on entirely new instrument concepts.
Wow. So they go from apprentice to master craftsperson, shaping not just metal, but also the future of the field.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher points out that many eventually branch out on their own, establishing their own workshops, creating custom instruments, maybe even specializing in restoring vintage pieces.
Now that's what I call finding your niche.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's a lot of opportunity for personal growth in this field, both creatively and professionally. But let's be real, even the most passionate craftsperson has to navigate the practical realities of the job market. So we've talked about the passion, the skills, the career ladder. But what's next for wind instrument making? Is it a craft that's here to stay, or are we facing a future of only synthesized sound?
That's the thing about true craftsmanship,
Yeah.
It never really goes out of style.
Right.
RoleCatcher actually points to a pretty positive employment outlook for this field.
Really?
Yeah.
That's music to my ears. But why is that? I think in our digital world, handcrafted instruments might be seen as, well, a bit old-fashioned.
There's a certain magic to an instrument made by human hands. Think about it. Every dent, every curve, every soldered joint, it's a testament to the maker's skill. You can't replicate that with a computer program.
That's true. There's a human touch that's irreplaceable. But RoleCatcher did mention sustainability becoming a bigger deal. Isn't that a challenge when you're working with metals and potentially harsh chemicals?
Absolutely. It's a conversation that's happening more and more within the field.
Yeah.
How do you balance preserving this ancient craft with protecting the environment? It's a tough question, but some makers are exploring things like reclaimed wood for instrument bodies.
Oh, wow.
Or experimenting with new alloys that have a lower environmental impact.
So finding innovative ways to keep the music playing, but in a way that's in harmony with the planet. I like that. RoleCatcher also mentioned something about customization becoming more popular.
It's true. Musicians, especially at a professional level, are looking for instruments that are as unique as their own musical voices. They want something tailored to their exact needs, their style of playing.
So it's like the difference between buying a mass-produced violin versus having a Stradivarius crafted just for you.
Exactly. And this is where that collaboration between the maker and the musician becomes even more critical. They work together, almost like a composer and their instrument, to create something truly special.
And it's like the instrument becomes an extension of the musician themselves, right?
Yeah.
Their sound, but amplified by this incredible piece of craftsmanship.
That's a great way to put it. And that's really what lies at the heart of this career. It's about more than just technical skills. It's about understanding the art of music, the nuances of sound, and that human element that breathes life into it all.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of wind instrument making, what's the one big takeaway you hope our listeners will remember?
I think it's the understanding that even in our increasingly digital world, there will always be a place for things made with heart, with skill, with a deep respect for both tradition and innovation. These handcrafted instruments are a testament to that.
Beautifully said. It's like that old saying, they don't make them like they used to. Except in this case, they still do, and it's pretty remarkable.
But the next time you hear a French horn ringing out, or a clarinet hitting that perfect note, remember there's a whole world of craft behind those sounds.
And to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of wind instrument making. We hope you've learned something new, and maybe, just maybe, you're feeling inspired to go out and explore the hidden wonders of craftsmanship all around you. Until next time.